Hello everyone, my name is Jolene Schaefer and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, How to Guarantee Regulatory Compliance and Maximize Customer Retention and Satisfaction with QDMS, presented by Bimser International. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the question section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our 2-question survey. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. We've invited Bimser International today because they are the industry leader in quality and risk management software. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. So we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Kevin and Sam.
Thank you, Jolie. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yep, it looks great.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for the introductions and thank you for having us today at this webinar session. My name is Kevin Devecioglu and I'm with Bimser International, and we are an enterprise software maker since 1998. Today, I am with my colleague Sam Watt. He's our process software engineer. Both of us are based in New York, and today we'll be talking about compliance, quality management in a digital environment without any paper, and what kind of tools we have that we can use on our quality management systems in this digital age. That's what we'll be talking about. And thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it. Also, before we get started, we have a very good relationship with SWK Technologies. We have been partners for a while, and we work very closely, and we much appreciate this webinar opportunity. And we are also organizing other activities as well in coming months, in this month as well as in February, so we'll be working very closely. As for Bimser International, we believe in simplicity, and we help companies simplify their processes and digitally transform their activities and business processes. That's what we do. We are very active in business communities, especially in quality and compliance community with ASQ, which is a nationwide organization that helps us interact with many different quality and compliance professionals for us to understand their challenges and how we can help them, basically. So that's a great opportunity for us to interact with quality and compliance management communities. Also, we are very active in manufacturing communities. For example, HALI is an organization in Long Island region of New York, and we are very close to manufacturing companies and organizations as well to interact with them, understand their challenges in this digital age, to be compliant and to be more productive. As a company, we are also close to academia, and we develop a mentorship program for university students to teach them and mentor them for process software engineering in the scope of compliance management and digitization. So let's talk about our company a little bit before we talk about how we can comply digitally without paper. As Bimser International, we are based in New York, as I mentioned earlier, and we have global presence in Europe, as well as in Istanbul metro area and the Netherlands. As a group, we are about 200 people. We are a growing organization. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is one of our investors. So with their help and support, we have more visibility in international markets. In terms of compliance, we are also ISO 9001 compliant. We have certification for that compliance. And also we are ISO 27001 compliant for data integrity and security. In addition to these, I like to also share that we are also very close to various ERP ecosystems. We are working with SAP, Microsoft, Acumatica, Sage, Oracle, and many other ERP systems in business world. Since 1998, we have been very focused. We just developed these 4 products. EBA is our enterprise content management system with workflow and document management capabilities. BIM is our asset and maintenance management system. QDMS, that we'll talk more about today, is our quality, risk, compliance, and audit management system. And Ensemble is our business process management software. So what we do is simply we have organizations automate their business processes to get rid of paper and to have a structured data capabilities. Our products work standalone. They integrate with each other, and we integrate our products to any ERP, any CRM, or manufacturing execution system available at client's location. So that gives us the flexibility. Our products work on cloud and on-premise servers, and we have mobile apps available. So on this slide, you can see how many deployments we have done by the end of 2018. As you see, the largest number that we have in terms of deployment is QDMS, our quality management and compliance management system. That's one of the reasons that we are very experienced in this field, because we have been doing it for since 1998, and we have about 1,000 corporate customers already globally. Speaking of customers, historically we are coming from enterprise markets. That's why we have these reputable companies as some of our references. We work with 3M, we work with Bridgestone, Renault-Nissan Alliance. Ford is one of our customers. We also work with International Paper. We work with Starbucks, for example. We work with Unilever. United Nations is one of our customers. So what it means is our products are scalable and our solutions are solid and they are proven. And we are ready to serve enterprise market as well as mid-market with our capabilities and with our industry experience, especially in compliance and quality management. So let's talk about quality and compliance management a little bit. Today, that's a fact that most of the companies, they comply with various standards for various reasons. And one of the reasons that we comply is to make sure we have a quality product or service. So what is quality? Quality is basically a level of excellency of our products and services. And these, the characteristics of quality basically, that needs to speak for the voice of the customer, that also needs to address the environment, that also needs to address staff and our stakeholders basically. So it's actually a broad concept, but in short, that is the level of excellence for our products and services that we like to make sure that we deliver. So who decides for it? Customer decides for it. As long as customer is happy and as long as we have the customer satisfaction, then we have a quality product and service. That's what it means basically, and it varies from industry to industry. And when we say quality management, we take it as quality assurance and quality control in the industry. So when we say quality assurance, we are referring to the quality management system in the name of compliance. This quality management system may be ISO, which is very, very universal one, and it's same in North America, same in Asia, same in Europe that we have been seeing. Or that may be more industry specific. For example, that may be AS9100 for aviation industry or SWK for BRC. So that is the system that we have in place in our company. So that basically dictates certain policies, certain policies and procedures in place that we need to follow on a daily basis. So we have that system. And based on these policies and procedures, we know what will be the next step in terms of customer complaints, in terms of corrective actions, in terms of non-conformity. And quality assurance system itself dictates quality control and standard SOPs, standard operating procedures, basically. So the quality control piece of activity is generally very, very company specific. I've seen many different companies in the same industry doing different type of quality control activities based on their customers' expectations and based on basically order specification. So quality control pieces it has a lot of moving pieces basically in that section, and we address that with another product of ours that I'll be talking about in a minute. So this is basically the structure of our conversation today: quality assurance and quality control activities at any organization. So we'll be talking about these, and we'll be talking about how we can achieve it in a paperless environment. That is where we like to be. As for quality and compliance management in various industries that we have been seeing, there are companies complying with different standards. There are many different standards, but these are basically the major ones that we have been seeing. Some of the industries are heavily regulated, so they have to comply with standards. One of them is, for example, aviation and aerospace companies. They need to comply with AS 9100. If you are making a doorknob for a plane, you need to comply with AS 9100. You need to make sure the security, the safety of that piece that you need to deliver to a airplane manufacturer, for example, meets certain standards. So AS 9100 is one of them, followed by ISO 9001, for example, that we see all the time. And many different companies depends on the industry they are, depends on the company, depends on the customer they are actually serving to. They also comply with NIST, ITAR, and many other standards, depends on what is needed. Let's just remember, compliance is optional. That's not about being legal or illegal, right? So if you are not complying with ISO 9001, you'll be non-compliant. The side effect is this, and we'll be talking about in coming slides as well. All of these standards that I am addressing here, they have a couple of common goals. What are they? Continuous improvements. All of these systems are designed to help your company have a continuous improvement. So how do we improve our processes? We improve our processes with feedback. And where do we get the feedback? We get the feedback from our customers. We get the feedback from our employees, from our team members. We get the feedback from our vendors, from our stakeholders. So I need to get feedback from our customers based on the product or service that I deliver. So based on the feedback, I go back to my shop and I find a way to make it better. That is how we basically achieve continuous improvement. So when we achieve, as long as we have continuous improvement in place by complying with these various standards, I can actually ensure I have customer satisfaction. So customer satisfaction means sales. So here is what we say. Even though compliance and quality management compliance activities look like a lot of paperwork, they look like a lot of work to do, it is not only that, it actually directly links to sales activities. So compliance means sales, that's what it means. If you're not complying with AS 9100, you cannot sell anything to Boeing or Airbus, for example. So that's a must. Even though that you are a 30 people company or you are a, let's say, 1,000 people company, doesn't really matter. You need to comply. So compliance means sales. It means also continuous improvement. It also means customer satisfaction. That's what it means. So we need to look at it from this point of view. So let's go back to the verticals that I was addressing. Automotive industry, they have their own ISO 9001 standard called IATF 16949. So that is also designed based on certain documents, policies, and procedures, followed by customer complaints, corrective actions, action management, training, and audit management. Construction industry also, they have various standards. The one that we have been seeing most of the time is ISO 17025. That's for calibration management. Again, holy grail of all the quality and compliance management systems are ISO 9001. That is basically the foundation of all the quality systems. Then from ISO 9001, it goes to certain industries, say aerospace, say automotive or construction. Food industry is another heavily regulated industry that we have been seeing. Most of the food companies, food manufacturing companies, processing companies that we have been seeing, we have been interacting, and we have been working with, they need to comply with SQF, they need to comply with BRC. These are also very similar to ISO 9001, upgraded for food industry with hygiene and cleaning standards that they need to comply with. Similar standard is ISO 22000, for example, we have been seeing in the market, and food companies, most of them also, they need to comply with FDA and good manufacturing practices, GMP. Healthcare industry is another heavily regulated industry. So when I say healthcare here, I'll address simply hospitals, clinics, and service providers. Typically, they need to comply with FDA regulations and especially HIPAA in terms of safety and security of patients' records and record management, simply. And some of the healthcare organizations we have been seeing, they also comply with ISO 9001. Manufacturing industry is very interesting because depends on the customer that you are serving as a manufacturer, you need to comply with various standards. Again, the universal one that we have been seeing is ISO 9001 for manufacturers in general. Doesn't really matter if you have discrete manufacturing or process manufacturing. ISO 9001 is very typical one that we have been seeing. Followed by ISO 9001, we have been seeing ISO 14000 for environment and for environment security and safety purposes, as well as ISO 50001 for energy management purposes, and many other standards. Again, if you are a manufacturer in food industry, highly likely you need to comply with SQF and or BRC, for example. Depends on the companies or customers that you are serving to. Let's keep it in mind. Our customers dictate and regulations dictate what type of quality and management standards we need to comply. If I'm working with a, for example, a food chain, fast food chain, highly likely they'll ask me to comply with BRC and or SQF for me to be able to at least have a conversation with them for sales purposes. And once I make the sale, I need to maintain the certificates. So the customer's expectations are key here, in addition to, of course, regulations such as HIPAA, such as FDA. It goes without saying. Medical device industry, as we know it, medical device industry may be X-ray manufacturers, for example, or any other medical device manufacturers that we have been seeing in the market. They comply with ISO 13485, which is also an upgrade of ISO 9001, designed for medical device manufacturers. And most of the medical device manufacturers also, they comply with FDA CFR Part 11 standards, similar to pharmaceutical industry, pharma companies that we have been seeing. Public sector, whether they are local or state organizations, they need to also comply with the various standards. What we see in common is policies and procedures and documentation that we have been seeing that they need to prepare and present it to the local or state authority. It depends on the system they put together. And that is a big challenge. I mean, when we say document management, it looks like a simple piece of paper, but year after year, revision after revision, if you have a policy and or procedure, you have a lot of papers that you need to manage. And we see many companies having difficulty managing and navigating around, especially when they are having their audits once or twice in a year, for example. Even in technology industry that we have been very active, that we need to comply with various standards. ISO 9001 is also one of them that we comply with. And many technology companies also comply with ISO 27001, followed by other standards that may be needed and required by customers. Quality and management standards, whatever that may be typical as ISO 9001, or that may be AS9100 for aerospace industry, or FDA or HIPAA compliance, for example. They enable best practices because, just like I mentioned earlier, the goal is basically continuous improvement, safety and security, and customer satisfaction, which is directly linked to sales. And also, quality management standards also provide a certain framework to run your quality assurance system. And it also ensures that you're going to have a continuous, sustainable business model. And we also encourage companies to have an environment for continuous improvement in terms of company culture. Why do we need to comply with various quality and management standards? Customers require it, as I mentioned earlier. You can enter different and new markets that requires certain compliance, say ISO 9001, for example. You may make difference comparison to your competition with ISO 9001 certification, as typical as I can give that example. You can improve your operations, and also you can position your company for growth and customer satisfaction. Simple. That's one of the reasons. So we've been talking about benefits and what kind of advantages that we can have with complying with a quality or compliance management system. There are also, of course, challenges that we have been seeing in the market. First of all, the paperwork that I mentioned earlier maybe a challenge. And the paperwork means, actually, what it means is actually policies and procedures. So whether you are complying with AS 9100 or ISO 9001 or, for example, SQF or DRC, everything starts with writing down how you are doing your work. Let's talk about customer complaints, for example. If a customer complains about a product or service that we are providing, the first thing we need to do typically is validating the customer complaint. I need to make sure that's a real complaint that I need to put into consideration and I need to take action, for example. And the next step, maybe I need to put together a team to make an investigation to make sure what happened with regards to the service or product that I delivered. And then I take action based on the findings of the investigation, for example. So there's a typical set of steps that I will take for customer complaints. So that becomes my policy, for instance. What would I do? And my procedures, basically, what kind of steps I take in the scope of that policy. So I have these policy and procedure set, and let's say this is my first year in business. So next year, I find a better way to handle customer complaints. So I make some changes in that policy and procedure management. So it becomes my revised document. And then the following year, I make additional revisions. And then the following year, I make more revisions in the name of continuous improvement. So paper after paper, it becomes really difficult to manage it. So that is what it means by my paperwork. And we will also address that in a minute. Also maintaining the documentation, having the recent version is also one of the challenges that we have seen in the market. And sometimes because companies are so busy, sometimes they lose sight and they lose the fundamental purpose of quality and compliance standards. So we are talking about continuous improvement. We are talking about customer feedback. We are talking about customer satisfaction. So these are actually really fundamental goals of any business. But on day-to-day basis, sometimes companies lose basically sight of these purposes. And sometimes companies find it to be difficult to comply with it for those reasons. Well, the good news is we have solutions for these challenges. We are in digital age right now, and the good thing is we can comply without paper. I don't need any paper to comply ISO 9001. I need no paper for me to test any audits for certification for SQF or DRC, for example. I can do all my activities digitally with no need of paper. That's easier for everybody. That's easier for the company, compliant company, because you can basically operate better, more efficiently. You can have a better continuous improvement, friendly environment, and you can increase your customer satisfaction for sure, because you can address problems much more quicker. Updates are easier, for example. And it is also easy for auditors, because when the auditor asks for a document or revision or the previous revision of a certain policy or procedure, it is just a click away. You can just show everything digitally. If they still want it, you can get a printout. It's not a problem. But locating the policy and procedure for any audit and retrieving them and presenting them is very, very easy. That will also show you how we can do it. And also, with the help of digital age, of course, we can also manage our quality management system, and we can manage our performance versus our target, for example, in terms of customer complaints, in terms of continuous improvement goals that we have been trying to achieve, as well as the feedback that we are getting from our customers, from our vendors, and from our employees, for instance. So we are talking about digital age, and we are talking about paperless solution for all these compliance challenges. So we like to present you QDMS, just like Jolene mentioned earlier. QDMS is our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. That's a proven system. We have been developing this since 1998. It is solid, and we have about 1,000 customers globally, and these are reputable companies, and they comply with various standards, starting from ISO 9001, goes all the way up to FDA, HIPAA, and many other standards that we just talked about earlier in this presentation. So when we look at QDMS, as I mentioned earlier, you can comply with many different standards. It has a web-based architecture. What it means is once we make QDMS available for you, you can access the system anywhere in the world. You are traveling, it's not a problem. You can see your policies, procedures, customer complaints on your mobile device. If you are at office, you can use your laptop. it has email notifications, and it's very, very user friendly. The good thing is you don't need no consultants to run QDMS. Once we train you, you are the boss of the system, and it makes things much more easier when you are managing a quality management system with QDMS, because it's very user friendly and you manage pretty much everything yourself with our 100% support behind it. QDMS works on cloud and on-premise servers, and regardless of what environment you have, we can just deploy the system there pretty quickly. And system is modular, meaning you can pick and choose what module you like to use. So some of the modules that I put on the slide actually are optional. Some of our customers, some of the companies that we are working with, they get some of the modules to digitize their compliance and quality management activities. Some of them, they take all of it, some of them, half of it. It's really up to you. The good thing is system is modular. You pick and choose what you like, and then you can upgrade later on if you like. So that is totally up to you. So that is my presentation in terms of quality and compliance management in digital age. And I've been addressing fundamentals of quality and compliance management systems in the market. I also talk about various verticals and what kind of standards they are compliant. And I also address some challenges that we have been seeing in the market for most of the companies when they are complying these standards, ISO, SQF, BRC, FDR, or HIPAA, and how we can basically address them in a digital environment without paper. So this is my presentation. Now I'd like to hand it over to our previous software engineer, Sam, and he'll show you how actually you can do it in real life, how you can manage your policies and procedures with no need of paper, how you can manage your customer complaints, how you can manage your corrective actions for continuous improvement, and how you can manage your internal audits, how you can manage your trainings and other activities in the name of quality and compliance management to ensure continuous improvement culture in your company, to increase the customer satisfaction, hence increasing the sales. Let's remember, let's keep it in mind. Compliance and quality management means sales. And as long as we have the continuous improvement in place, as long as we have the customer satisfaction in place, we can increase our sales. And this is the way to go, basically. Sam, are you ready to take it from here?
Yes, I am.
Great, thank you, Sam.
It's my pleasure. And can you see my screen? Like QDMS.
Yeah, looks great. Yeah, it's perfect.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for joining today's webinar. And this is Sam at Bimser International. So this is how it looks like after you log into QDMS, which is our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. So all the pending tasks or requests for approval will be shown on this home screen. So for example, you can click any one of this, like required auditing. So you can click to the request and get a quick connection to it. So you can click it and start reading your document right here, as you can see on the screen. And also on your top left, this is one of the documents. This is the main menu of QDMS. So you can find all your available modules in this main menu. And we have different modules, for example, like control document management modules, external customer complaints, corrective action, and also the audit module as well. And then let's go to the control document management modules. So in this module, you are allowed to upload a new document, revise the document, or delete the document, and also read the document in this module. So let me show you how we can read the document. And after going into the viewer in this module, so you can find the folder tree on your left, and then you can click into it, and all the subfolder and also the document will be shown on your right. and we can click into either one of them and start reading this document. So I'm going to get into this folder and read this document. And after deploying QDMS on your on-premise server or on your cloud server, you don't need any other software to read your document. Instead, the content of your document will be shown in the built-in browser of QDMS. QDMS supports different file type like specification, policy, guideline, and so on in different file formats like PDF, image, video, audio, and also Microsoft Office like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So you can find or you can read the content of your document here, and also QDMS shows you the basic document information, the revision information. So you can find the versioning in this revision information tape, and also the permission matrix. And you will have the idea what kind of permission is granted to different users based on their profession, position, department, and or group. And also you can see the distribution list, so which user or which group they have the obligation to read this document. And in QDMS, all the activities that the user interact with the document will be recorded in a log. So you can find out like the creation date, the approval date, and also the revision date and time under this history tape. And as I mentioned, you can update or upload a new document, revise the document, and delete the document in this module. And in every module, you can find the reporting tool that allows you to create a ready-made report. For example, in this control document management module, you can have your document status report, and you can put your condition on this report before it is generated. For example, like the creation date or the date of revise, you can choose from a calendar. After that, you can generate your report, and that will be shown in a table with the code name, revision number, which is the version number, and also the creator and the revision date, and so on. Now QDMS is generating our report and showing us in this table. Okay, and you can always use the filter function in your report. For example, I'm just talking the status which is in publish. Then QDMS will do the filter or filtering for you in this report, and you can export this report as Microsoft Excel and PDF for sharing with any responsible parties. Then let me show you the external customer complaints. And in this complaints module, you can retrieve or you can have the feedback from your customer, vendor, or supplier, and also from internally like your worker, colleague, and also supervisor. And let me show you one of our example in the system. So these are all the report or all the complaints that we have in the system, and they're in different status. Depending on their progress on handling this request. You can find some of them are in open, reviewed, or final status. And in this module, you can create your complaints with choosing the customer name and also the complaints description. After that, we can assign the responsible team to take care of this complaint. After that, this responsible team has to file the first progress report and letting everyone know what is happening and they have confirmed the issue that our customer our customer is encountering. And after that, this team has to file the final report and see if there's any follow-up action is needed. And everything is settled, then we can close this complaint in the system. And this is how the flow is. And you can tell from this report or from this screen. So once the inspector, for example, like ISO inspector coming to your office and show me the complaint process of your company, and you can show to the inspector right away, like the complaint detail, the team, and also the first progress report, and so on in one screen. And next, I want to show you is the corrective action module. And in this module, you can see all your corrective action that is recorded in the system are in different status, similar as the complaints module. So they are in different status depending on their progress, like will be in open, result, or planned, follow-up, and so on. And let me show you one of our records that we have. For example, this one, it is in result status. And in the very beginning, you can file your corrective action with the non-conformity and also the non-conformity detail. And after that, we can put this request into our approval flow in QDMS. And what I want to share with you is this approval process is configurable, which means we can add, modify, or delete any layer in this approval flow according to the hierarchy of your company. After that, we can assign the solution team to take care of this corrective action. And this team has to file the first progress report. And in this example, that will be the floor is full of water, and which lead to the slippery floor as a result. Then this team has to do the root cause analysis, saying why we have the water on the floor. And then this team has to define the action that this team or the member of this team will take to cope with this problem. After that, before we closing the case, we have to see if there's any follow-up action is or needed. So this is simply how the flow in this corrective action module. And again, we have our reporting tool to provide the ready-made report, for example, like our corrective action cost report or the detailed report. Also, you can generate your graphical report in this module. So you can put your condition or preference on your left and setting the time frame and generate your report in a bar chart or in a table. Now I'm going to generate our bar chart report. So it's helped you to analyze which process that we have the most corrective action, or we can change it from a drop-down list like the department, customer, or by department, by customer, or by our product. We can also export this report into Excel, image, or PDF for sharing with any responsible party. And lastly, let me show you the audit module. So right here, in this module, you can define your audit planning that you have in your company. So for example, we have an audit planning for 2020. So I'm going to create a new one. So say, and you can define the start date and end date, and how many days in advance that the auditor will be notified by email and also by the notification in QDMS. So you can define those here when you're creating your audit planning. And after that, we can create some audit item in this planning. So let's say we have audit 2020 2020. And then you can choose your date from a calendar and also the time that you want to have your audit. So saying from 11 to 12, and who will be the auditor in this audit audit operation. So saying Kevin will be the auditor, and who will be the auditee. And one more thing I want to mention here is you can use this module for auditing internally and also externally, which means you can use this module to audit your supplier, vendor, and also your subcontractor. And then we can create it, save it, and this will be done in this item audit for auditing will be generated in our module. Yep. And also you can define some question as a reference for the auditor. So saying you're auditing the marketing department, so you can pick and choose the question for marketing audit only, and you don't have to choose any other question that's for the manufacturing. Okay, and there's a lot there are more modules that you can pick and choose in QDMS. For example, like survey, action management, risk assessment, event notification, and so on, as you can see on the screen of your screen. And it's come to the end of my demonstration. And before I handing it back to Kevin, I want to show you as we have mobile application as well for QDMS. And I would just want to share with you. Okay, so this mobile application is available for Android and iOS device. As what you can see on the screen, this is my cell phone, which is in Android system. So I have QDMS, and I just download it. And after the deployment, so you can log into QDMS on your handheld device like tablet, and also your smartphone with the same credentials. Now I'm getting into it. And after logging in, you can find your pending task on your home screen, like what you can see on the screen, and also carry out the same function or get connected to the modules like document management, corrective action, customer complaints, survey action, and so on your handheld device. And thank you for joining this webinar. Thank you, Kevin. And please feel free to take over here.
Thank you, Sam. So just like Sam shared with all of us, these are basically the fundamental part of QDMS. And the good thing is, with the help of this kind of tool, you are ready for audit every single day. I know companies spending 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks just to prepare for an ISO audit or SQF audit, for example. However, if you are using a tool such as QDMS, you are ready for audit every single day, and there is no special preparation is needed, and everything is digital, simply. And that's the beauty about it. Some of the questions that I keep getting from various companies, for example, as to quality and compliance standards, are they only for manufacturers? That's a typical question that I keep getting. The answer is no. I know companies in retail industry, finance industry, education, for example, in healthcare, they also comply with various quality and compliance management standards, basically. So we have seen many different examples. And some companies, they don't have certification, but they practice one of those quality or compliance or management standards, for example. So that's also another example that I can share as to industry. So manufacturing, service industry are always okay to have this kind of compliance. And as I mentioned earlier, it's all about customer satisfaction. It's all about continuous improvement and to increase sale. Another question that I keep getting is about IoT. So there are various IoT devices that we have been working with our products. A typical example is, for example, I can share with regards to food industry. So if you are manufacturing food, highly likely you have refrigerators. And by these compliances, either at HPF, BRC, or ISO 22000, and most of the by local regulations and law, you need to check the refrigerator temperature in a day, sometimes 3 times, sometimes 4 times in a day. I know companies go check the temperature manually, check the temperature if it is in the range. They put it, they get a piece of paper, they take a note of it, they sign it, for example. That's a very manual process, and you need to keep a lot of paper to prove that you are doing what you are supposed to be doing. Instead, there are sensors that we have been using. These are as simple as Bluetooth sensors that we basically put in a refrigerator. And the sensor basically gets the data in terms of temperature, and you can remotely monitor the temperature. And if there is any irregularity, if something is out of range in terms of temperature, it sends notification, and you can take an action from there, for example. Another one that I have been getting is very similar, very common questions are ERP systems that companies are using. So if you have an ERP system, highly likely you enter certain information, for example, customer information, or employees, or products that may be linked to your corrective action. We do a lot of integrations with regards to ERP systems that may be working with QDMS, so you can avoid double entry. Jolene, I'd like to hand it over to you.
Great. So we'll now open up for any additional questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into the question section of GoToWebinar, and we'll give that a minute to see if any come through. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kevin and Sam, for your informative presentation and for taking the time out of your day to be here with us.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
All right. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for attending.
Thank you. Have a good one.